Imagine this. You've spent 10 years building your business. You've got a great product, a loyal team, and then, boom. One morning you wake up, check your phone, and your search results are a graveyard of one-star reviews and a scathing blog post on page 1. Sam, is it actually possible to recover from that, or is it just game over?
It feels like game over, doesn't it? But honestly, Alex, that's exactly why online reputation management, or ORM, exists. It's not just about damage control after a disaster. It's about building a digital fortress before the storm hits. Most people think it's just about deleting bad reviews, which, spoiler alert, you usually can't even do. But it's actually a high-stakes game of SEO, psychology, and public relations.
A digital fortress. I love that. Today, we are diving deep into the ultimate guide to reputation management from the digital Cauldron. We're talking about how to own your narrative, why Google is basically your new storefront, and what to do when things go south. I'm Alex, and I'm ready to learn how to keep my digital street cred intact.
And I'm Sam. We're going to pull back the curtain on how the pros handle this. Because look, 97% of consumers read reviews before buying. If you aren't managing your reputation, you aren't managing your sales, period.
97%? That is basically everyone with an internet connection. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. What is ORM actually? Is it just a fancy word for PR?
Not quite. PR is often about outbound messaging, getting your story into the news. ORM is about what people find when they go looking for you. It's the digital mirror. It's the process of monitoring, influencing, and managing the public perception of your brand across the entire web. This includes search engines, social media, review sites, and even forum discussions like Reddit.
So it's not just Google, it's everywhere. But Google has to be the big one, right? If I search for best pizza near me or a specific brand name, what I see there determines my next move.
Exactly. Think of the first page of Google as your brand's resume. If that resume has a failed drug test in the form of a bad news article at the top, you aren't getting the job. The guide breaks this down into 3 core pillars: monitoring, responding, and proactive building.
Let's talk monitoring. How do I even know what people are saying without spending 24 hours a day on Twitter? I refuse to call it X, and Yelp.
You use tools, Alex. You have to automate the listening. Google Alerts is the basic free version, but serious businesses use things like Mention or Brand24. These tools crawl the web and ping you the second your brand name, or even your own name as a founder, is mentioned. It gives you the chance to respond in real time.
Real-time responding sounds stressful. Like, what if someone is just being a troll? Do I have to be nice to everyone? Because I've seen some business owners go Gordon Ramsay on their reviewers, and it usually doesn't end well.
Oh, the Ramsay approach is a recipe for a PR nightmare. Here's the secret. When you respond to a negative review, you aren't actually talking to the reviewer. You're talking to the thousands of people who will read that review later. You're showing them that you're professional, that you care, and that you're reasonable.
Wait, that's a huge shift in perspective. I'm not defending myself to the hater, I'm auditioning for the next customer.
Precisely. The guide emphasizes that you should never ignore a bad review. If you ignore it, the negative voice is the only one heard. If you respond calmly and offer a solution offline, you've neutralized the threat. Sometimes the reviewer even deletes the post because they feel heard.
Okay, so that's the defense, but what about the proactive building you mentioned? How do we stop the bad stuff from reaching page 1 in the first place?
This is where the real SEO magic happens. You want to flood the zone. If Google has 10 spots on page 1, you want to own as many of them as possible with positive, controlled content. Your website, your LinkedIn profile, your Twitter, your Instagram, your professional listings, these are all digital assets that you can optimize to sit at the top. If you own positions 1 through 9 and a bad review pops up at position 12 on page 2, nobody is ever going to see it.
Because page 2 of Google is where you hide a dead body, right? I've heard that one before.
It's a cliche because it's true. Less than 1% of searchers click on anything on the second page. So part of ORM is creating high-quality content, blogs, press releases, interviews that outrank the negativity.
Okay, let's go deeper. Let's say a business actually messed up, a genuine crisis, not just a grumpy customer, but a product recall or a public mistake. How does ORM handle a situation where the truth is actually negative?
That's crisis management, and it's a subset of ORM. Rule number 1, ownership. The worst thing you can do is lie or deflect. In the digital age, the internet is a world-class detective. They will find out. The guide suggests the 3 A's: acknowledge, apologize, and act. You acknowledge the mistake. You apologize sincerely without if or but, and show exactly what you are doing to fix it. This changes the search narrative from Company X failed to Company X's response to the failure.
I've noticed some companies try to buy their way out. You know, those services that promise to remove bad reviews for $500. Is that legit? It sounds like a scam.
It almost always is a scam, Alex. Most platforms like Google and Yelp have incredibly strict policies against removing reviews unless they violate specific terms of service, like using profanity or being clearly fake. If someone tells you they have a secret backdoor to Google to delete a 2-star review from a real customer, they are lying to you. Real ORM is about long-term strategy, not a delete button.
What about the social proof aspect? I read in the guide that reviews aren't just for SEO. They actually change how our brains perceive value. Can you explain that?
It's a psychological phenomenon. As humans, we are wired to look at the herd for safety. If we see a restaurant with 4.8 stars and 2,000 reviews, our brain shortcuts the decision-making process. We assume it's safe. If we see a 3.2-star rating, our threat response kicks in. We think, I might lose money here, or I might have a bad experience. High-quality reputation management actually increases your conversion rate because it lowers the perceived risk of the transaction.
So even if your marketing is amazing, your reputation acts like a leak in the bucket. You can pour as much money into ads as you want, but if the reputation is bad, the customers just leak out the bottom.
Exactly. You're basically paying to send people to a place where they'll decide not to buy from you. It's a waste of budget. That's why the guide argues that ORM should be a line item in your marketing budget, not just something you do when there's a fire.
Let's talk about the future. We're seeing a lot of AI-generated content and AI-written reviews lately. How is AI changing the reputation game? Is it getting harder to tell what's real?
It's getting much harder. We're entering an era of reputation inflation. If everyone uses AI to generate 5-star reviews, then reviews start to lose their value. Google and Yelp are currently in an arms race to develop AI that detects AI. For businesses, this means that authenticity is going to become the new gold standard. Video reviews, detailed case studies, and verified purchase badges are going to be worth way more than a generic great service text review.
So the bar for trust is getting higher. I guess that means businesses have to work harder to prove they're the real deal.
Precisely. And let's not forget personal branding. For founders and CEOs, your personal reputation is now inextricably linked to your business. If a CEO says something controversial on LinkedIn, the business's Google reviews might take a hit that afternoon. You can't separate the two anymore.
That's a lot of pressure. So for our listeners who are running a business right now, maybe a small local shop or a growing tech startup, what are the first 3 things they should do after listening to this episode?
First, perform a digital audit. Search your brand name in an incognito window and see what actually comes up. Don't just look at page 1. Look at the images and the People Also Ask section. Second, set up your monitoring. Use a free tool like Google Alerts today for your brand and your key executives. Third, create a review request system. Don't leave your reputation to chance. Ask your happiest customers for reviews systematically. The more positive volume you have, the less any single negative review can hurt you.
Love that. It's about being proactive. Don't wait for the fire to buy the fire extinguisher. Sam, this has been an absolute masterclass. I feel like I need to Google myself right now just to be safe.
Laughter. Just make sure you use incognito, Alex. Otherwise, your own history will bias the results. But seriously, your reputation is your most valuable intangible asset. Protect it like it's your cash flow, because eventually it will be.
And on that note, we're wrapping up. If you found this helpful, do us a favor. Leave us a review. We practice what we preach, and your feedback helps us reach more people. Check out the show notes for a link to the full Ultimate Guide to Reputation Management at the Digital Cauldron. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sam. Keep your narrative clean and your reviews bright. We'll see you in the next deep dive.